Hi, everyone. Welcome to Liberty Defense Holdings live corporate webinar. This is Trevor Brucato with RB Milestone Group, the US-based investor relations firm. For those new to the story, Liberty Defense is a leader in next-generation walk-through security portals that screen for concealed weapons and threats using technologies developed by leading security and defense research institutions like MIT. Liberty Defense's experienced management team is deploying its high-throughput HEXWAVE security portal to public and private spaces to solve the challenging problem of screening for metallic and non-metallic threats, including firearms, explosives, IEDs, among others. Liberty Defense is listed in the US on the OTCQB under the symbol LDDFF, and in Canada on the TSX Venture under the symbol SCAN, S-C-A-N. Joining us today is Liberty's CEO, Bill Frain, who will be covering a brief overview of the company, their recently announced achievements, including the sale of 20 HEXWAVE units to Rapiscan, and the TSA award of up to $3.8 million USD, and an outlook for 2024. At the end of the presentation, we will open it up to questions for Bill to address. If you are interested in asking a question and are logged into the Zoom app or web platform, you can submit your questions to us directly in the Q&A module. If you have already submitted questions via registration, no need to resubmit, as we already have those in the queue. Please note this presentation is being recorded today, November 15th, 2023, and will soon be made available on the company's website at libertydefense.com. Following the presentation, we will be sending a brief investor sentiment survey on the strengths and weaknesses of the company, in your opinion, as well as which operational milestone you're looking forward to the most. Your participation would be greatly appreciated, as it will help Liberty better communicate with its stakeholders moving forward. Now for a quick disclaimer. Today's call may contain forward-looking statements that are subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results, performance, or developments to differ materially from those contained in the statements and are not guarantees of future performance of the company. No assurance can be given that any of the events anticipated by the forward-looking statements will occur, or if they do occur, what benefits the company will obtain from them. Also, some risks and uncertainties may be out of the control of the company. Liberty's full disclaimer can be found in their presentation and on their website. Lastly, RBMG is not a registered investment advisor or broker-dealer. For more information, please visit rbmilestone.com. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Liberty Defense's CEO, Bill Frain. Bill, the stage is yours.
Great. Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate it. And appreciate you all taking the time today to learn more about Liberty Defense. It's certainly been an exciting few months for us here at the company. We're shipping out our HEXWAVE product to customers, and our backlog is growing. And, as Trevor mentioned, we've received 2 major contracts from the TSA, and it's to enhance the security at U.S. airports at the checkpoint areas. And we're partnering with some of the largest companies in the security and detection space to grow our presence on a global basis. So certainly some exciting times for the company. And everyone here, at the company, all the employees, we're all driven and focused to deliver next generation technology, as it says here, to protect the communities and protect the public. It's why we come into work every day. And unfortunately, given some of the rising instances of terrorist activity, the mass shootings that are happening, one very close here in the New England area in Lewiston, Maine, international unrest in Israel, and other violent acts, we're going to start to see this technology at places that we go on a daily basis. And we have the technology with the HEXWAVE. We've got the exclusive licenses out of MIT and Pacific Northwest National Labs to be part of that overall security solution, because it really does take multiple platforms. There is not one single bullet that can detect 100%, but we have the technology that can be part of that solution. And we have an experienced team that is responsible for close to $5 billion worth of security equipment that's been deployed worldwide at airports and other commercial applications. And then we have a really strong support from our board of directors and our advisory team. So today, just briefly in the presentation, we're going to talk about two products. So our flagship product is called HEXWAVE. And as Trevor mentioned, it's a walkthrough screening portal that's going to automatically look for metallic and non-metallic threats. And I'll get into the technology a little bit here in a minute. But the HEXWAVE is really for kind of that urban security market, the commercial applications, aviation worker screening. It's a non-regulated application, and we're shipping it to customers, as mentioned earlier, and it's more for the commercial applications. The second product, which is the HDAIT, which is a high definition upgrade kit, is for the US airport checkpoints. And those are the contracts that we have with TSA. We're providing an upgrade kit in field to replace the existing hardware that's in the system, and that will enhance the performance of the checkpoint from a detection basis, lower the false alarm rates, and improve the throughput and overall experience. That's a 12-month development program that we have with the TSA. We're working very closely with them, and we anticipate a rollout of the upgrade kits late in 2024, early 2025. And this is a more regulated market, more where you would need a certification to get into the TSA and to be able to meet certain detection criteria. So just kind of going back to the HEXWAVE, and we talked about these incidents, and it feels like there's almost an incident every week that's happening. We see it in the news, especially here in the States, but now it's starting to happen on a global basis. And again, we are focused on providing technology that can prevent these threats from happening and these terrorist acts from happening. So the HEXWAVE technology, it's powered by AI, and it uses millimeter wave or radio frequency and advanced 3D imaging capability to detect concealed metallic and non-metallic threats that are on the person. So that can be, as Trevor alluded to, IEDs, improvised explosive devices, homemade weapons, and other prohibitive items. And the system is rapidly screening the person at a high throughput rate. It's contactless and it's walk-through. And so what we're doing is we're emitting an RF signal, very low power signal. It's very safe. And we emit the signal. It gets captured and reflected off of the body. There's no penetration to the body. And then that data goes back into the system, a bank of detectors, and we're producing a 3D video rate imaging, as you can see there on the slide, which we call rich data, but it's going at 20 frames per second. So it's fast, high compute power. We're getting 400,000 data points. So it helps us with our accuracy and performance. And again, we're looking for, the guns and the knives, but, we're also looking for those things that could elude the metal detectors that are out there today, such as powders, liquids, and gels, flares, 3D printed guns, which have become very popular, or ghost guns, very popular in, unfortunately, in today's society. The one thing that we also do is you don't alert on those items that are not threats. So the system using the AI can tell whether something is a cell phone, keys, your wallet, so you don't have to divest. So it's a matter of convenience for our customers and the patrons that are going through the system. Again, it's a smart system. It's going to make an automated decision whether there's a threat or not a threat. And as you can see, the only thing that an operator would see would be that GUI or the image there that's going to identify where the threat is on the person. So some people have asked recently, have you been, part of any third-party testing? And this slide here represents a trial that we did at NATO. It was in a Fort Moore outside of Atlanta. We participated in a 3-day trial. And these are the results. I know it's a little bit of an eye chart here, but the point is that these were the results of a day 1 trial for us. And we had 100% detection on threats. So some of the threats that you can see there, and everyone who went through, we didn't know what they were carrying. Most of them were concealed on the person. And you can see some of the images there. So they had IEDs, they had guns, They had non-metallic objects, they had glass, powder, plastic bombs, C4, marbles, etc. And we had 100% detection with only 2 false alarm rates. So the system performed extremely well. And we'll see day 2 and day 3. We'll see some of those results later in the year when they're published to us. But we had a very good day, and this is kind of a third-party validation to show how well the system performed. So we say, why Liberty Defense? The biggest thing is the experience we have, not only with the people who have been in the security industry for 30 years, have designed, developed, and deployed cutting-edge technology, but we also know that technology is proven. So millimeter wave and the AI capability, it exists today in the market. It exists today at airports. It's the last line of defense before you get on the plane. We have very good relationships in the industry, not only with TSA, but commercially and globally with partners because we've been in this space for so long. We've been working with MIT and Pacific Northwest National Labs. And actually, the important thing is they chose us. They chose us to be able to develop and commercialize the product. So places like MIT Lincoln Labs and Pacific Northwest National Labs, they're true R&D. So they have the initial development idea and capability. And again, they chose us to commercialize, and that's exactly what we've done with HEXWAVE, and that's what we're going to do with the upgrade kits for TSA. So it's truly next generation technology, and we like to call it future-proof. So when you deploy the HEXWAVE, it's going to continue to learn, it's going to continue to grow, and actually if there's threats, we know threats will continue to evolve. I've been in this space for 30 years. There is no saturation. Threats continue to develop. New threats come out. People who want to do bad things will create new ways of doing it. And we're able to stay ahead of that by using software capability. So we can actually train the system to look for threats as they evolve. And then we can send those to the customers over the airways. The TSA is investing in us. They've given us contracts over the last 18 months. We got the follow-on awards. We're now close to $5 million worth of awards from TSA. These were sole source contracts for us to do the development. So they have the confidence in us and the technology that we'll be able to perform. And then we're partnering with security industry leaders. So Smith Detection, large global company. Rapiscan, one of the leaders in the security space, part of OSI Systems, and K2 Solutions, who have major integration capabilities in aviation. So we're partnering with the best of the best so that we can support the growth capability that we see coming. The technology has been validated. The customers have adopted the equipment. They've come to see it. We're starting to deliver now, and there's growing demand, and we're preparing ourselves for the sales ramp. So just as far as the future proofing goes of the system and some of the customer adoption that we have here, mentioned, TSA, we just delivered a system to them, a HEXWAVE, for continued work with them and performance for the Aviation Worker Screening Program. Los Alamos National Labs, we announced that several months ago. We are currently deploying those systems. They're not only looking for threats, but they're looking for data devices, USB sticks that might come into their facility because they want to protect the data. They're working on top secret programs. So they chose us to deploy equipment in their facilities. Greater Toronto Airport Authority, they've been a great partner for us over the last year. We'll be delivering systems to them soon, and we look for a greater partnership with them. And then we've had additional recent awards from Elkhart County Courthouse. Courthouses, prisons, correctional facilities is a key market for us, because they're looking for things that are non-metallic as well. So they're looking for currency that can be used as visitors come in, currency that can be used by the visitors to give to the prisoners, like drugs, money, cigarettes, and other things, cell phones. Smith Detection, great partner. They've bought 5 systems. Lenev US has a very strong deployed base for their X-ray screening technology and screening of the prisoners. So they need technology that could be used for the visitors, and we're looking to partner up with them. Grasp Amsterdam, our first international sale, they're looking to do a full-up automated checkpoint, and we're going to partner with them to do that. And then lastly, we just signed on with Rapiscan, as we announced, for international expansion of our business for the HEXWAVE and for the HDAIT upgrade kits. And they'll be purchasing, or they have purchased 20 systems that will deploy over the next 6 to 9 months. So some of the key market drivers for us, I mentioned employee screening, and the TSA mandate talks about screening of employees starting on September 25th, which started September 25th of this year. So, and I have a slide coming up to go into that a little bit more, but we've done a lot of testing and evaluation as these airports are ramping up to get ready for this full screening capability, which is really enhancing the detection. So we've been at LAX, Oakland, Charlotte, Manchester, Boston, recently at LaGuardia and Denver. We're working with Delta Airlines. So a lot of these airports, airlines are now looking to partner with us as they get ready for the employee screening initiative. And then just on the commercial side of things, this is just a pictorial of a lot of the different firms that we've been working with and have contact with. And a lot of them are coming to us now, given the, I'll call it the heightened awareness of a potential threat. We just had another call with the Israeli Prime Minister's office yesterday. We've been working with them over the last year on different detection capabilities. So we hope to be able to ship them a system here in the next several months. So aviation worker screening, and maybe before I get into this, just, there was a recent Wall Street Journal article that came out, I think it was about a month ago. And the heading was, criminal gangs exploit security gaps to infiltrate airports. Post-pandemic hiring sincerely leaves airports vulnerable as new staff gain access to secure areas. Now, some of this was for drugs. Some of this was laundering money, but it could be explosive material, right? These people have access to the planes. They have access to the fuel tanks. So TSA fully understands that this is a gap in the security. They've been working on this for several years. We're partnering with them, but it is a clear insider threat, and it is a real risk. And that's where HEXWAVE can come in. HEXWAVE does the detection for explosive material or for drugs or for money. And we're looking to focus on that security application. But we also understand, there's thousands of workers at each airport. So we understand the concept of operations, the ability to have throughput capability, the ability to get them on to the job on time. So we're working very closely with the airports and the airlines. And you can just see the market outlook here. If you look at the major airports, the category X, 1s and 2s, that's 150 roughly airports. There's about 430 machines that will be needed at the airports that for employee screening that will have to have explosive detection capability. That's why it's such a focus for us. That's why we're working closely with TSA and the airports. And the image you see here is a recent trial that we did at LaGuardia Airport. I think we can all see that, the market is there. I mean, there are several different market outlooks. This one just happens to be $37 billion, growing to $48 billion. There's others that are out there. It's $9 billion to $15 billion. Regardless, it is a significant market opportunity. And we're focused on the key areas and market verticals like the aviation that we've been talking about, correctional facilities, for prisons, screen for the non-metallics, distribution centers, so looking for threats, maybe going in with the employees, but theft prevention going out, critical infrastructure, government facilities, ever since the January 6th incident, and now with the new elections coming up, we've been working a lot with some of the Capitol buildings for the states, hospitals. We've been talking to some of the emergency rooms. The fact that the HEXWAVE is mobile and can be moved from one location to another is not only important for, aviation and correctional facilities, but hospitals that may want to move it from one location to another. And then obviously we've seen what's happened with schools and the guns and knives, and then the sports and entertainment values for stadiums. So as we look kind of for the rest of this year, we're looking to build 25 units. We already have that in backlog, as you can see, and we'll plan to deliver those this year. Next year, we're going to grow to probably 150 HEXWAVE. Given the backlog that we have and the pipeline of over 250 and growing systems, we're very confident that we'll meet those requirements. And then just, the third-party contracts that we have, with Rapiscan and with Smiths and the others, we're very confident that we'll meet those levels. And we have lined up a few third-party contract manufacturers that will be able to ramp up very quickly. Right now, we could get them into the 15 to 20 units per month, but the ones we've spoken to and the ones we'll sign up could easily ramp up to double that capacity. But just from a competitive landscape, and I won't get into the details on all the competitors, but you have your traditional metal detectors that are out there. You have the high throughput metal detectors that are out there using AI capability. You have the airport, the millimeter wave scanners, the body scanners, the terahertz, and then you have other metal detection companies. But what differentiates Liberty from these competitors is our ability to detect a broader spectrum of threats. When we're talking to customers, they want to be able to detect all levels of threats, not only today, but for tomorrow. We have indoor and outdoor application and the FCC waiver to do that. We have high throughput. It's walk-through screening. We're at over 700 people per hour, and we're looking for the next generation of technology that'll get us to 1,000 plus. You don't have to divest. You can keep your keys, wallets, cell phones in your pockets or your jacket. We actually see through jackets, so you don't have to divest your jacket or your heavy coat, especially here in the New England area. There's no privacy concerns. There's no health concerns. It's a mobile system, and it's smart using the AI, which is going to continually learn, and it's open-ended. So we can add on other capabilities and technologies if we want to do facial recognition, because we have cameras, access control, remote monitoring locations. So definitely opportunities for us to expand the capabilities working with our customer set. So I'll take a quick stop here and we'll shift to the second technology, which is our upgrade kit. So to this point, we've been talking about HEXWAVE. Now we'll talk about the upgrade kit development and the contracts with what we have with TSA. So many of you who fly have been through the body scanners. It's the ones where you put your hands up, the technology rotates around you, very similar to the HEXWAVE in that it's using millimeter wave, just at a different frequency. And the millimeter wave is very effective. So we have the exclusive license out of Pacific Northwest National Labs. TSA has issued us 2 contracts now with up to close to $6 million for the development and the deployment of these kits. They've committed to us. They did a sole source justification for us. And the TSA plans to upgrade these systems over the next 5 to 7 years. So in the image at the top, you can see we're just replacing the hardware. So you don't have to do a full replacement of the system. So we'll be able to do this within 4 hours. And the goal with the TSA and with Liberty is to enhance the detection to new detection standards, lower the false alarm rate, improve the throughput. At the end of the day, that improves the passenger experience. And you may have seen TSA talked about this open architecture platform. And what that means is TSA has gone after kind of best-in-class companies to join together to provide the best detection and overall performance capability. And so we provide the hardware at Liberty. We'll be working with a third party for some of the software, and we're working with another third party potentially for the GUI or the overall interface. So we have adopted that open architecture and working closely with the TSA on that. The overall market opportunity there's 1,042 body scanners at U.S. airports today that will need to be upgraded over the next 5 to 7 years. That's $100 million of upgrades for the potential market opportunity for us. So from a business model perspective, and this goes along with whether it's the HEXWAVE or the upgrade kit, we're focused on the hardware sale to the customer. It'll be point of sale. Transfer of title happens after we ship the technology, but there is a nice maintenance and software revenue stream that goes along with the products. So in my past life, you'd sell the technology and then you'd sign up for a 3 to 5 year maintenance contract because the customer wants to have 100% operational availability. So that means you have the labor to support it, the parts to support it, and then there's a nice follow-on for software updates. So we know over the next 10 to 15 years of the hardware cycle for the systems, we're going to have to do improvements. We're going to have to look for other threats and capabilities, and the customers are willing to pay for that. So there's a nice revenue stream that goes along with that. We have no moving parts on the HEXWAVE. So we expect to see some, high operational availability with the system. Over the last 1.5 years of beta trials and recent installations, we've had very few part failures. We do have a third-party capability for us to do leasing if that's necessary, where we would get the payment up front and the leasing company would manage a lease with the customer. So conscious of time, and I appreciate you hanging with me so far, but the key takeaways for this, the HEXWAVE technology is validated. The customers are buying it. We're expecting a major sales ramp. Customers are adopting it. They come and see us. We just had someone in here yesterday. We have 2 more customers coming in here Thursday and Friday. The market is primed and it's waiting for enhanced screening. Given the level of threats that are out there, given the adoption of non-metallic threats, the customers want to see a full system that can not only detect all threats, but do it efficiently and effectively. Our pipeline is growing. Our backlog is growing. We've got key partnerships that are in place. We're being approached by other partners for other key verticals. And there is a growing industry interest for the technology, not only for the HEXWAVE, but as we then get into the AIT upgrade kits going into 2025. So very exciting time here at Liberty. We're excited that we're shipping out products, and we're going to now focus on the next generation and new developments. With that, Trevor, I'll hand it over to you. There are a few extra slides here that go over the management team, our board of directors, advisors, and the capital structure, and that's all available on our website. And as mentioned, we have a very strong management team and board of directors, and our advisors are all invested in the company. So appreciate your time. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Bill. As mentioned, we will now move to the Q&A portion of the webinar. If you have a question, you can submit them directly in the Zoom Q&A module. If we do not have time today to get to all of the questions, we will do our best to address them via email in a timely manner. Some questions have already come through, so we'll kick off here. First question, Bill. Now that Liberty is past commercialization and sales have started, can you provide an outlook on the number of HEXWAVE units you plan on selling over the coming quarters?
Yeah, so we're, as mentioned, we started to ship in September. We're building up the first 20 to 25 units here in our Boston office, and we'll look to get those out the door. And then we'll partner with a third-party contract manufacturer, probably decide that in the next few weeks. And we'll do about 150 units in 2024. And that's just the HEXWAVE. And then we anticipate that to even grow further in 2025 when we also see the HD AIT upgrade kits come into play as from a revenue perspective as well.
Thanks, Bill. And for the listeners, I'm going to try to organize these questions in somewhat of a categorical order here. What number of units would get you guys to break even?
We're looking at break even at the end of 2024, early 2025. So it's about that 150 systems that would get us to that break even kind of cash flow positive.
What do you anticipate the dollar value of the TSA contract will be to upgrade all of the airport scanners? And will this contract be awarded to several security companies?
So the overall availability, I'll say the market availability, is 1,042 systems that are out there today at U.S. airports. And at about roughly $100,000, you're looking at about $100 million opportunity for the next 5 to 7 years. That's just in the U.S. There's another 1,000 body scanners, similar type to those deployed in the U.S. airports internationally. So you can double that for total addressable market. And as far as we're concerned, we're working closely with TSA. We don't know if there's others that would come into play, but we right now have a sole source contract with them to do the upgrade kit. We're fully invested in this from a company perspective and technology perspective. So we feel like we're in a very good position to get that sale.
And Bill, you mentioned the TSA plans on upgrading these systems over the next, say, 5 to 7 years. What do you anticipate the timing of initial rollout being?
Right now, it's late 2024, early 2025.
Thank you.
So the program we have with them is 12 months. So we've already kicked that off. So by, September, October next year, we'll be in the evaluation process for the kits, and then hopefully fully deploying them, by the end of the year, early 2025.
Perfect. Thank you. You touched on this a bit, Bill, in your presentation, but it might be worth reiterating. How many HEXWAVE units could Liberty manufacture and deploy in the field per month if it were to receive a major purchase order?
Yeah, so, and I'll answer it in a couple of different ways. First of all, the lead time, we don't have anything that's out there that's, machine shop. Everything is kind of off the shelf. We do some work on the boards and whatnot, but, we have a good grasp on our lead time. So we could get a third-party contract manufacturer up and running very quickly. And so right now, our initial discussions are 20 to 25 units per month. And then when we're talking to them, we're asking how quickly they could get to 50 units per month. So I hope we get to that stage, but for right now, it's pretty straightforward for us to get to 20 to 25 units a month.
And one of these live questions might be worthwhile addressing at this point. Are there any supply chain issues you are currently working around?
No, as I just said, we have very good visibility on our supply chain. A lot of it's off the shelf. We're working with a lot of local vendors here in the Massachusetts area. So we have a good grasp on the bill of materials, the lead time, and the availability of the parts.
Bill, can you reiterate the business model in particular? Will Liberty be looking to lease the units and/or are customers required to just purchase them?
So right now we're focused on full up purchase of the systems, but we give the option to the customer if they want to do a lease. And we have a third-party leasing company that would work with the customer directly. But right now, all of our sales have been direct sales, but we know, leasing is an option for potential customers that might be budget constrained. So that's certainly an option for them.
From a capital perspective, do you see a need to raise additional capital over the coming quarters, especially now that you guys are ramping up your backlog and purchase orders and so on?
Yeah, and we're, there's always a need for the capital to build up your inventory, especially with the growth that we're anticipating and the pipeline that we're seeing. We're very fortunate. We announced back, I think, 4 or 5 months ago, we have a credit facility in place that's up to $10 million that would really be for all the orders that we're getting in. So that's kind of a non-dilutive way for us to, keep the finances coming into us and to be able to meet the demand and the delivery schedules that we have in place. So we plan to use that credit facility as we move forward.
Thank you, Bill. Good amount of questions came in on the product front. Do you have clarity on what HEXWAVE's false positive rate is?
So we've been, just by, we do a lot of testing, obviously in-house. We've been out in the field for, over a year now. The industry standard is somewhere in the 10 to 15% false alarm rate. We were very effective in that NATO trial on the first day. So I think as long as we're in that, single digits to 10% range, that's very effective for the customer base.
Do you have any plans on integrating third-party cameras with HEXWAVE current version or future versions?
So we do have a camera that's in the HEXWAVE, so we could do biometrics. We have also looked at the potential for, again, I mentioned it's open-ended, so we could use third-party cameras for video analytics, for tracking people as they come in to go along with the detection of the person. We've talked to some of the Fortune 500 companies out there as they're looking to screen their employees. So there's a lot of options for us, even outside of just using cameras, access control, where someone would go through and scan their badge, go through security, and then the gates would open if they're clear. So looking at a lot of different applications that can go along with the HEXWAVE. Also looking at the potential to put it behind, maybe behind a curtain or some very thin sheet, so that you don't even see that you're being screened, but that's kind of in the future capability.
Talk about non-metallic and metallic detection. So the question is, can the HEXWAVE detect biohazards like powders, liquids, gels, etc.?
Yes, and that's exactly what it's built for. So we're looking for any type of anomaly or threat that's on the person. So we're going to see that powders, liquids, gels, the threat types. We received a large database from TSA of potential threats from our customers. So we continually train the algorithm and the AI to look for those specific threats that are on the person. And again, you can screen for money, for drugs. So that's the whole goal, is for us to look for any type of anomaly or threat that's on the body, metallic or non-metallic.
Thanks, Bill. What would be the scenario if there is a power outage? Any sort of backup power that can be easily integrated?
Yes, we would have a UPS, a universal power supply, that would go along with the system.
Okay, just sifting through some of these live questions. Can you talk about maybe cost per unit?
Yeah, I don't want to get into the specific cost right now, but pricing wise, we'll be under $100,000 per HEXWAVE.
Okay. Can you talk about the competitive landscape?
Yeah, so I showed one of the slides. So it's really, you've got your metal detectors, you've got terahertz technologies, you've got your body scanners using millimeter wave. There's probably a half a dozen different companies that are out there that are kind of vying for this space. But again, given the size of the market and the demand that's out there, there's room for these, companies in the security space to grow, and there's certainly major demand. So, again, from our perspective, we differentiate ourselves by the ability to detect a broader range of threats, the mobility of our system versus some of our competitors that are locked in place, no privacy concerns, the high throughput capability, indoor, outdoor use. So, we stack up very well, versus the competition, especially those that are just doing the metallic objects.
And how about from a, high level talking point here on a valuation front? I mean, you guys are at about 30 million Canadian market cap. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, personally, we're completely undervalued. And if you look at some of the comps that are out there, they're closer to a couple $100 million to even $1 billion valuation. So, from our perspective, we have the technology, we're in sales mode, we're poised for the growth, we have the team in place. So, from a valuation perspective, we're very much undervalued. When you look at, some of the comps and you look at the partners that are joining up with us, to help grow the business, we're ready to ramp, and, we're very much undervalued right now.
From a market segment perspective, say after airports, what would you say is the most low-hanging fruit here with the current system and the upgrade kit?
So with the current system, the HEXWAVE, certainly correctional facilities, prisons, courthouses, distribution centers, U.S. government facilities, kind of the state capitals that we're going after, cruise line industry, looking for liquids and explosive detection. So I'd say outside the aviation, Fortune 500 companies looking for employee screening, seeing a lot of interest again from hospitals. So those are our primary targets right now, I would say, from a kind of a market vertical perspective.
And when it comes to strategic partners and exclusive relationships like Smith's Detection and any others, maybe you can talk a little bit about, other groups or current groups that might be able to allow you to establish a strong footprint in current segments as well as future segments.
Yeah, so we're obviously happy with our relationship with Smith's from there. They've got a very good distribution network here in the Americas and a installed base. Rapiscan is very strong on the international front, and we're excited to get going with them. And they both can provide service capabilities, integration capabilities. We also have an agreement with K2 Solutions, very strong in the airport network. And, we have a few others that we're looking at working together, domestic and internationally, that can help us in specific market verticals, where we would need that kind of business development support and marketing capability. So we're very active in working in the marketplace.
Thanks, Bill. We're coming up on time here, so we'll cover a couple more questions. Any plans to uplist to a major U.S. exchange?
That's always an opportunity for us. As we grow, I think, our focus right now as a company is, getting units out the door, getting revenue established, getting the credibility, not only in the marketplace, but in the financial community, which we have been doing, and meeting our commitments. So I think we're looking to establish ourselves, but that's always an opportunity for us to potentially uplist onto the NASDAQ.
And Bill, as our last question here, could you please reiterate Liberty's upcoming milestones on a timeline basis that investors can look forward to?
Yeah, so right now, again, we're focused on getting units out the door, getting more sales into the marketplace. We're very active, quoting, building up our pipeline, working with our strategic partners to, getting the Liberty name, reputation, and performance, that we have and that we have seen from the technology out into the marketplace. So definitely getting that more recognition. So highly focused on sales, getting a third-party contract manufacturer in place to help with that demand. Very focused on working with TSA on these HDAIT upgrade kits and continually to meet those milestones that we have been over the last year, and do that over the next 9 to 12 months so that we're ready with the system to start deploying those kits in late 2024, early 2025.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you to everyone for joining today. Again, Liberty's tickers are LDDFF in the US and SCAN in Canada. Today's webinar recording will be sent to all registrants and will also be made available on the company's website at libertydefense.com. If you have any additional questions that have not been addressed or that you have not already submitted, please email us at liberty@rbmilestone.com. Again, that's liberty@rbmilestone.com. Thanks again. That concludes our webinar. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.